The service today is a presentation as well as a sermon. The name of it, as Kiya told the children, is Afri-Kin, Africa and kinship, about how we all go back to the first mother, who was an African woman who might have looked something like the woman on the front of your bulletin. This presentation is just meant to start a conversation about the race as a social construct and race as a scientific construct. So, I'm going to begin by telling you about an exhibit that we went to see at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. This is a science museum named after Ben Franklin, who started it, I believe. And the exhibit was called Race. So you go in, and there's a huge room, and the first thing that you see is a table with a book on it that has photographs that are covered by a little piece of cardboard, and in the cardboard are cut squares through which you can see part of the photographs underneath. And what you can see through the windows is a portion of someone's face. And so all you see is the color of their skin, and you're supposed to guess from the color of the skin where this person is from. And so you see this skin that is kind of milky colored, and you see skin that's cinnamon colored, and you see skin that's espresso colored. And once you've made your guesses, you open up the cardboard and you can see the people underneath, and you find that the person with this milkiest skin in this photograph is a person of Japanese origin. And then you expect that the person from India, say, will have the cinnamon-colored skin, and yet once you see the picture, it's the person with the darkest, most espresso-colored skin, like a double shot of espresso that'll wake you up in the morning, is from India. So you begin the experience of the race exhibit with having your where you think you know, having what you think you know challenged. And you realize that you didn't really know, everything is more complicated than you thought it was, which is the beginning of wisdom, right? And so what they say in this exhibit at the Franklin Institute is that race is a powerful social construct that affects people's lives very deeply. And yet, it is not so much a construct that is supported by the science once you go to the DNA. Everybody's got DNA that is a map of who they're going to be, who they are. And one strand of this DNA is the mitochondrial DNA, and it can be traced back through the line of the mother. So the mothers give it to their sons, the mothers give it to their daughters, but it's through the line of the mother. And you trace back, and you can find out through DNA study that we're all related to this one woman in Africa they call the Mitochondrial Eve. There's a book called The 7 Daughters of Eve by a man named Brian Sykes. And he talks about tracing the mitochondrial DNA back to find out that there are 7 mothers for the Western European peoples. And there are about 9 mothers for the people of Japan. And there are other mothers of peoples of different parts of the earth, up to maybe 26 mothers. So what they say is that if you could see all the people who were from the same mother that you were, that you might be surprised at the colors of their skin garment, because you can't really tell by looking which mother you're from. And I know that human beings are such, our nature is such, that if we all had our DNA done to the level of detail where you would know which mother you were from, number 13 or number 21, then we would wear t-shirts with, I'm from 13 and we're the best. 13 rules and 21 drools. And we'd have, tug-of-war games and mental contests just to see which haplogroup was the smartest. We human beings are we're ridiculous like that. We want to think our people are the best. And so I don't really think that this knowledge, even if it trickled down into every cell of every person's brain, I don't think it would erase racism, but it would just give it a different shape anyway. And so, even though we have different skin colors, what the scientists say is that the skin colors make about as much difference as the different colors of cats. And really, you do have differences in the cats. For example, orange cats, I don't know if you knew this, orange cats are usually male. Calico cats are usually female. White cats are sometimes deaf. And lighter colored animals get more allergies than darker colored animals. But that's about it. And I don't know how that relates to humans. I'm not even going to try about who gets more allergies or whatever. Edward O. Wilson says, the more we learn about our common origins, the more we will realize that we're related with a common origin and a shared future. It would sure be a different way to look at things. In the earliest beginning, our mothers sang love and life to their children and to the earth. The Great Mother sang love and life to us, and we praised her. And her children were many, and many stayed in the valley where they were born. But some traveled because of hunger and drought, some because of war. Some traveled because of a restless desire to explore. They found a way across oceans and deserts, through mountain passes and plains, on their way to a home that could sustain them. And the daughters will speak, and all the people, when they are asked, will say together, and we moved on.
And we moved on.
Daughter number 1 speaks, hardship. One thing will I tell, which led to my traveling. 2 things will I tell you, as the Spirit gives me words to speak. The rains did not fall, neither did the floods come to green the land. The earth was cracked and dry, and we moved on. We had to walk for 3 days to find a slow-giving stream to moisten our lips, and we moved on. We had to walk for 3 moons to find a land where the berries grew fat, where the animals could again give us their bodies for food. We danced in thanks to the Spirit for finding us again, and all the people said, and we moved on, and we moved on. Daughter number 2 speaks, exploring. One thing will I tell, which led to my traveling. 2 things will I tell you, as the Spirit gives me words to speak. My father would laugh at all my questions and kiss me on the top of my head. I would climb the tallest trees to see as far as I could what was beyond the Sleeping Woman Hills, who lived on the other side of the shining river. When I was grown, my maid and I, he was strong and as curious as a child. My maid and I wanted to see the hills beyond Sleeping Woman and the one beyond that, and we moved on. We found joys, we found hardships. We had a child, and then another. Our feet sought the path toward the unknown places, and we moved on. We were strong. The children grew. We saw marvels, and we saw sorrows. Always we wanted to see what was beyond the next hill, and the people said, and we moved on, and we moved on. The 3rd daughter speaks, war. One thing will I tell, which led to my traveling. 2 things will I tell you, as the Spirit gives me words to speak. We saw the grasses move as they came into our valley. We could hear their shouted laughter. Preparations were made to receive guests. The dancers put on their streaks of black earth and their swaying cloaks of long-toothed grass. They came upon us in their might, screaming in words we could not understand. They took all we had. My brave brother was lost, but the rest of us ran into the night, and we moved on. We walked for days, cradling the babies, until the memory of that place was just a sad sweetness. We found our own food and made our own garments and did not learn to take what belonged to others, and we moved on. Some grew weak and needed care. Some stayed behind as they grew weary of travel. My family and I traveled until we heard the voice of the Spirit say, "Enough," at the foot of a large mountain. And all the people said, and they moved on. This clay jug that is my body is made of a beautiful color. Inside me are rivers and stars. Inside me are dreams and fears. Inside me are generations. My skin garment reflects the lands my family has traveled and my time in the cold realms or under the strong sun. We can look at any human and think, my family. The Native Americans would extend that to every animal, plant, and tree. May we remain aware of the connection among us all. May we remain aware of those who have gone before us, how many times they had to move in order to bring us to this place, how many changes they had to go through. Changes are difficult. Change is a constant. Please rise for our final hymn, which is called Change.
Your part goes like this. Change. That's it. Change. Change. I was so broken, I was feeling so down. Torture and hatred, murder all around. I asked myself if we'd ever be free. Then I started to call off the war within me. I said, change, change is gonna come. Change, change is gonna come. Now if you got money, then you do as you please. You keep us all hungry and down on our knees. Your sweatshops and bailouts, you add like campaign. But I know change is coming. I said, yes, we said change. I said, change, change is gonna come. Change, change is gonna come. And our United States of isolation, station to creation on the sacred ground. We talk mom and apple pie, do or die, hole in the sky buys another round. An articulation and a reclamation of the declaration's what we need. To attack and recant, counteract and retract hypocrisy and greed. You see the stories we were sold, freedom good as gold, we up down but never out. Sex, race, and gender, we are all contenders. Stop hate, prejudice, and doubt. Hope leads the way, watch the children play, working for a better day, better pay, and more say. Watch our colors sway. And all the gods we pray. Change, 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 change is gonna come. We are crossing your borders. We are out in your streets. When we walk in our power, our lives are so sweet. You say things will get better near heaven's gate. But our lives are precious and we cannot wait. I said change, 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 change is gonna come. Change is gonna come.
Part of walking in beauty amongst the people of our family is showing up, not sleepwalking through our lives. Part of showing up is becoming a person who gives.